Hey everybody, welcome to the Artists Alley Aftermath podcast. This is a podcast where after going to a Comic-Con and setting up with Faith and Fandom, we just kind of break it down and discuss the pros, cons, and the fun life adventures that do come with spending hours of your day sitting at a table with lots of nerdy people walking by. It's a great place to be, but we like to break it down individually and kind of discuss that as it goes. If you're watching on Facebook Live, hi. I'm recording in my microphone over here, so I'll kind of be back and forth. But also, if you are commenting on live, I will do my best to actually include your comments as we record as well. But I try and do this as a good way to just not only kind of give some positive feedback for cons, but also to just kind of journal the adventure as we go along. And so kind of going over to the, and you can also go back and check out other versions of this from other cons all across the country as well. So tonight specifically, we're talking about the Artists Alley Aftermath from Wilmington Geek Expo 2022. Now, this specifically is one of the last three cons that are rollover cons from 2019/2020. I booked this show like winter of 2019 and didn't do it until now. So just the past couple of weeks. So it's been kind of a long road to feel like we're back to normal con life, normal nerd life, normal geek life, and normal ministry life with Faith and Fandom with that. I have this show that just happened, Heroes Con this summer, and GalaxyCon Raleigh will be the last two shows that were actually booked in 2019. So it's going to be it's going to feel good to kind of get those off the books and looking back at, the world kind of being back to pseudo-normal. So with this, I had no real intentions of actually being at this show this weekend. It was not that I didn't want to go. It's that I am doing a production of The Wizard of Oz, and I basically have to block off all of April and May and the first 2 weeks of June to be able to do this show. And with that being said, I straight up just don't know what our schedule is going to be. Like, people are asking for me to commit to things, to be involved in things, and this is another rollover thing that I started pursuing this role for the Cowardly Lion in 2019, and after getting it, like the world shut down and I had to kind of start over. So our show with that is going to be the first or the second weekend in June. And after that, I'll get back to con life and everything kind of goes with it. But with that, I was really grateful that, like Wednesday of last week, they told us that we were going to actually have the weekend off, or at least the Saturday off, to be able to go do different things for Easter weekend. So the first thing I did was to confirm that I actually still had this booth space for the show. And this was also one of those situations where because things were up in the air, this was also going to be the weekend of Fayetteville Nerd Market. But that actually got canceled due to rain. But it didn't rain, so that's also sad. But I digress. But it was a good opportunity with that to be able to just to get out and go do a show even when I wasn't expecting it or planning on it. And after like finally getting all our stuff together, and it was another weird thing too, because I had a prom Friday night. So Friday I spent all day loading all my sound equipment, doing a prom, DJing, unloading all my sound equipment, and then immediately loading all the Faith and Fandom gear. And so it was just a haul in that aspect. But I brought my youngest daughter with me, Carmen. And Carmen and I left real early, like 6 a.m. on Saturday, to drive down to Wilmington to go do the show. And, it's not a bad drive to Wilmington. It's only like 60 some miles, like an hour and 15 minutes. But I was grateful to be able to do it. And I try really hard with my kids, to give them individual con experiences. So, like, when I'm looking at my show schedule, I will try and say, all right, this is a Rosa show, this is a Bella show, this is a Carmen show, based on the spacing, the time that we have together, and honestly, just the size of it, because, my kids are at different ages and sizes, and I need to know that they'll be in a venue that's not too big for them to navigate. So this was a good one for that. And went down there and unloaded, got our stuff together. And another reality of this is, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to actually do the show, I haven't restocked anything from GalaxyCon Richmond or from Captain's Comics Expo. So I'm missing like a ton of t-shirts. I'm missing a ton of books. And I'm honestly down to very slim pickings. In fact, one of our early encounters with the show was that someone said they wanted to come by and get one of everything. And getting that one of everything took out 3 of my books right there, because I only had 1 left. But I'm also grateful, because that means books are in the air. And but we got down there, and because other people had put this on shows where they were waiting on the world to get back to normal, some people had paid for these table spaces forever ago and just didn't come. And I totally get that. I totally get the confusion of that. I totally get why that doesn't happen, but it does make it difficult for retailers, for con people, and because when you walk into a show and you see empty tables, it's kind of discouraging. So really early on, me and the vendor directly to my right, we asked one of the show promoters if we could go in and space out our stuff. So I ended up with 2 6-foot tables with that. So spreading out my stuff for 2 tables is a lot when I've only got like half my merchandise anyway. And but either way, it worked out. So we spread it out, and had some really good conversations with people throughout the day. It was really good to catch up with some old friends, to see some Wilmington people that I haven't seen in a hot minute. And like I'll say that one of my favorite things was just watching Carmen be a social butterfly in the area, because she's a tiny little human. She's 9, but she looks like a 6-year-old. And she's got all the freckles and the big smile and everything. And so she'll walk around and she'll make friends all day long. And so we have walkie-talkies. Hey, Keith. Good to see you, dude. Keith Gibbs of Fayetteville Comic-Con popping on as well. We had Carmen was just walking around making friends with everybody, and she showed up just as soon as we got there. The folks that I believe they're formerly Carolina Caricatures, but dude Cody that does some really cool caricatures in the Wilmington / Myrtle Beach area asked if Carmen could be his model for doing the caricatures, because for a caricature artist, boy, that's a word to say, caricature. For a caricature artist, doing sketches of people is good business while people are walking by. So Cody had asked if Carmen could be his model, just to sit down and draw her, so people would see them drawing when she came in. And so Carmen got this really cool sketch of her as a character from Demon Slayer. Well, then there was another caricature artist with Cody who ended up doing another caricature. So she's just right out the gate started off getting stacks of fun stuff. And then I had an experience where one of the other folks that had come up to the booth had stated that he had lost his book 3 in a flood, which, if you know me and you know my family, we had flooding issues and did some pretty bad damage to our house and our community. My whole church building was 4 feet underwater. And so with that, he said that he had lost his book 3. So, obviously, like, if you know me, I'm going to give you stuff. So I was like, dude, just take another book 3. And, he was like, no. But, it's like, and I'm only telling you this because it plays into the bigger part of the story, not because it was a act of coolness or whatever. So we gave him a book 3. And, a little bit later, Carmen rolls up to my booth as she's free roaming, and she rolls up with a, like at least a $40 stuffed animal that I didn't pay for. If you've been to cons, you know that there are crocheting folks, people that like hand make a lot of stuff. Keith says he was trying to have a caricature drink and draw and character charcuterie. Bro, caricature charcuterie. That's a mouthful. That sounds like the best, like, emo, like, pop, like, END band possible is caricature charcuterie. Anyway, so Carmen rolls up to the booth with this, crocheted, thing that I didn't pay for. And, like, my first thought is, like, please don't shoplift from other vendors. And, so the just people typing weird stuff. She rolled up with this stuffed animal, and I asked her where she got it, and she said, this lady said, "Is that your dad?" And she said, "Vendors take care of vendors." And so when I looked over, I was like, I recognized the lady at the booth. So I was like, well, you go tell her that she can have whatever she wants from the table. I thought that it was just some nice vendor had given Carmen something cool, and not realizing that the husband I had just given the book to was that lady's husband. And so she was basically saying thank you for giving him the book. But it just turned out this thing where, like, we just had really encouraging interactions, and we're just blessing each other as vendors and artists, because you know what, your con family can be a really big and touching encouragement when you're actually doing shows and stuff like that. It was neat to be able to just, have that interaction and talk to her later and, just say thank you, because you know that if you do something for somebody's kids, it's a bigger thing than just doing it for themselves. And so, blessing my kid was a really good thing for it. And so Carmen spent most of the day at the con running around making friends. Justin from Go Power Up, which is a streamer. He is a Twitch streamer / esports person now. And so he had his booth set up there, and if you knew Justin from previously, Justin used to do the Forever Green Power Ranger cosplay. That was his big deal. He did some rap, he did some hip hop, he did cosplay, but the Green Ranger was his thing. He actually did the Green Ranger chapter for the kids edition of Faith and Fandom Jr. And but with that, he started a new esports line. A Hector hug at show gives me orange. Yes, Hector hugs are fully caffeinated. For y'all that are listening to the podcast and not on the Facebook, Keith Gibbs said that a Hector hug at a show is more energy than coffee. So Justin had his young daughter at the show as well. And so Carmen and Justin's daughter just like clicked and started running around together. And it was just neat to watch Carmen be in a safe space where she could just run around and make con friends, because that's something that all of my kids have got to do. And I've really enjoyed that being a good experience, is her being able to just find little communities with that. But, actually getting to talk with Justin, and I'm looking forward to actually trying to help and partner with him with some, because he wants to get involved in more esports. He wants to get involved in more cons and doing that, because he's been really big on Twitch and YouTube. But like just breaking into that more of that. And so this was his second show that I think he did. So if you look up Go Power Up on social media, you'll find Justin and all the cool things that he's doing. But it was neat doing that. And I'll say this one, like, I'm not going to say this out loud for people to give me things. Disclaimer: I'm not saying this for you to give me things, but it's been a really neat experience when people at cons actually like drop by like gifts just that they got ahead of time and say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you." That's just really cool. I think I mentioned this, but at Richmond, one of our Patreon supporters, Jason, actually brought me 2 Red Hood action figures, which was super dope. But at this show, someone brought me by a 21 Pilots Funko Pop, and that touched my soul because I love 21 Pilots. But it was just really cool. I spent like 30 minutes prior to this trying to find it so I could like, hey, look at this pop, but I left it at our church building on Easter by accident. So that's where that is. But it's just been really neat. But Wilmington Geek Expo overall was it was just a fun time, but also good to talk to the folks that are running different shows. Jerry from Fayetteville Comic-Con was there, which that show is next weekend, April 23rd and 4th, I believe. The folks from XCon / Grand Strand were there. The folks from the Lumberton Mall show were there. It was nice to talk to our local folks and also just see some different cosplay friends and stuff like that. Overall, it was a good show. It was because it was a show that I didn't think I was going to get to do. It was actually just an extra blessing. It felt like, oh, this was nice. I appreciate this. And I appreciate the fact that, I just get to be here. So it was great. I was grateful for that. And just getting to hang out with Carmen and talk to folks. And it was just a good day. It was also one of the shows that they ended at 4:30 p.m., which for me, a 10 to 4:30, it seems weird because most shows do like 10 to 6. But honestly, ending at 4:30 kind of kills everybody's lagging time. It kind of kills like where the show's starting to drag, and the last hour is like sad artists just looking at each other around the floor, like hoping something actually happens. So ending at 4:30 was like, all right, peace, we're out. And also too, my friend Deborah Lanham, who is a cosplayer, she does really great. She-Ra, she does really great. Sorceress from He-Man, and I think the first time I ever met her, she was dressed as Clara Oswald at a GalaxyCon. But like, she hung out with me a good chunk of the day, and so getting to talk with her about seminary and church life and con life, and just it was fun to be sitting there at the booth where I was just like doing my own thing, and then somebody hitting you with like hard life questions and having genuine discussions. So that was pretty cool too. So I was really grateful for Deborah for being there for that. Another reason I really like doing the Wilmington show is that it's right on the waterway. So as soon as the show was done and we loaded up, Carmen and I just loaded all the stuff in the parking garage, walked back down, walked on the waterway, and it was just, she had the time of her life just chilling and doing that. And so just really appreciated all of the aspects with that. I felt like the show was well run. There were volunteers that were walking around being helpful. Just overall, it was a good experience, and I'm grateful I got to do it. So I am so out of so many things, and I like with my theater schedule, I never know what's actually happening next right now. But I'm grateful when I get to do shows and actually get to be a part of that. And we are coming together to hopefully get some stuff done. If you've been... one of the other really fun things about the show was I just recently turned in the storyboard and script for a comic book that I'm writing. And I had the storyboard with me. And some of the folks that had seen posts about that, I was actually able to like open up the storyboard and share it with them and like go over the story with them. And it was really cool to actually just flesh that out in front of other people. And, you know, because so far this story is something that's only existed in my head and on paper. And so actually like telling it to people in front of me and like seeing their reactions was a really cool thing. So really grateful for that. Before I bounce out of here, I just want to say it was a good show and I was grateful to do it. And want to take a moment just to thank our Patreon supporters for Faith and Fandom, who just are such a big blessing in making all this stuff happen. Jason Crutchfield, who is one of our booth sponsors in general. He actually helps cover all our booth fees with us right now. Mike Perna from Inroads Ministries, Todd Turner from Mosaic Fan Art, John Jacobs, who is my homie here in my town and church, Zach Harris, who is a pastor way out in the Great White North somewhere right now, Caleb Grimm, who's another local friend, Jeanette Skaggs, who is the mother of all cosplayers, Chris Poirier with Columbus Got Game, Chris Cook at One Cross Radio in Canada, Jason Bullock, who is a filmmaker in North Carolina, Christina Ray, who's just a really cool con lady, Sarah Lewis, who does YouTube stuff as well as fan fiction, cosplay, all around. Patrick Gale, who is my homie from Florence, South Carolina, who's helped with our booth and stuff as well. Rebecca Godlove, who does retrofitted podcasts and a lot of cool stuff up in the Pittsburgh area. Adam Davis, who is an inker / drawer / illustrator / artist for your future art needs. And Stephanie Schwann, who is a missionary who supports this. And y'all, just the fact that people take their time to help Faith and Fandom exists with Patreon is pretty dope. And just to make sure I make this clear and express, our Patreon stuff right now, from like now until the immediate future, is going to book production. So our book 8 is being edited right now, and so our Patreon fees are going to pay for the book editing. Our children's book is being illustrated, and it's going to pay for the artist to illustrate it as well as production. And our comic book is being illustrated, and it will help pay for the illustration and production of that as well. So thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who are making that possible. And thank you to everyone who has, if you want to be a part of that, you can go to patreon.com/faithandfandom. And book 8 should be out this summer soon. And if you want to check out book 8, early, you can go to faithandfandom.org and click blog, and you can actually read all the rough drafts of the chapters for what's up there right now. And you can also find all the rough draft audios on our podcast channel. But you can find over 170 devotionals on the faithandfandom.org blog section, the ones that come from all the books. So I think that's all the things. I will be popping into Fayetteville Comic-Con on Saturday to help run the Nerd Slam on April 23rd. And the next show that I will be at, I'll be doing the Geek Church at Grand Strand Comic-Con. And this all depends on what our schedules are in terms of if I'll actually be able to set up booths or anything. But the next show I know for sure that I have a booth at is Heroes Con in the end of July or end of June, and then we'll kind of pick up by normal. So this has been Artist Alley Aftermath, Wilmington Geek Expo 2022, and thank you guys for listening, and I hope you have a great day / night / morning / infinite time loop, whatever you're in.